Welcome friends. In last lecture we have studied in detail about the collection and transportation of milk. In today's lecture we will not see in detail about the collection and transportation of milk as we have seen it in our previous lecture. In today's lecture we are going to see in detail about the cooling of milk, why it becomes necessary to store the milk at room temperatures, and these points will be discussed under the head that is the cooling of milk. Okay. First of all, let's see the importance of cooling of the milk. The milk contains some microorganisms when drawn from the udder. Their numbers increases during the subsequent handling. It means that the fresh milk generally contains the microorganisms. Freshly drawn milk. Freshly drawn milk from udder. It also contains the microorganisms, and if this milk is not stored to the 5 degrees Celsius or below this temperature, their numbers may increase. So, to prevent this multiplications or growth of organisms, we have to store this milk to 5 degrees Celsius or low temperature. Therefore, this is the importance of cooling of milk. Okay, got it? It is said that the growth of microorganisms generally increases more, or they becomes more active at this temperature, that is the 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. Therefore, we have to store milk at low temperature. So, we have to avoid to store milk at this temperature to prevent the further multiplication of microorganisms or further growth of microorganisms. Then this is the table. This table generally contains the from one side, that is the milk held for the 18 hours at temperatures degrees Celsius, and the second column is for the microbial growth. Okay. So, this is the multiplication factor. If milk is stored 0 degrees Celsius, the microbial factors or whatever the microorganisms will be there, they will be if they multiply with these factors, whatever the numbers we will get, that will be the number of the microorganisms. So, this is the factor. As we can see that, we can observe from this table that as the temperature increases, the number of microorganisms are also increases. In this way, we can say that as the temperature increases, the multiplication the number of microorganisms is also increases. As the temperature decreases, the number of microorganisms are also decreases. Okay. So, in this way it becomes necessary to store milk at low temperature. Okay. So, this is about the importance why the milk is stored at low temperature, why to milk stored at low temperature. This is the reason for the storing the milk at the low temperature. The next point from this point is the methods how the milk is cooled or preserved. Number one method is in can or can immersion method. Second one is surface cooler. Number third is in tank or bulk tank cooler. Number 4 is, that is the milk chilling centers, milk chilling centers. Okay, so these are the 4 methods by which milk is cooled. The number 1 is the in can or can immersion method. Milk is poured in can by straining. And then this can is immersed or it is lowered in cooled water. Okay. For example, if this is the can, this is the milk can, it is packed with a lid, it contains the milk, and this can is immersed in a cool water. This is the water tank. Okay, so this is the water tank, and in this water tank this can is immersed or lowered in a tank through a cooling water. Okay, and the level, look at this level of water, cooled water, it is below this neck of this can. Okay, if the can is fully immersed in the water, then what will happen, this water will get entry into this cans. So we have to note that this can the water level should be or must be lower than this neck level. Okay, so this is the first method, that is the in can or can immersion method. This can is immersed in a tank. The tank contains the cooled water, and with the help of this cooled water the inside milk also get cooled. Okay, so in this way the milk is cooled or stored, and this method is called as the in can or can immersion method. Okay, second method is the surface cooler. Okay, first of all we have to understand the advantages of this method. Not only is the milk cooled, but it also stays cool, and second one is this method not only cool this milk, but it also stays cool. And if we have the small quantity of milk, then in that case this method is very feasible to store such a small quantity of milk. Okay, so this is the advantages of this method, and disadvantage of this method is that it cools the milk very slowly, as this is the cold water and this is the milk. So by this way or by this method it cools the milk very slowly. So, this is the disadvantages of this method. Then there is a danger of milk contaminations. Milk may contaminate with this water. If the water level is higher than this neck level, then this water may get entry into the milk. So, this is the disadvantage of this method. Okay. So, in this way we have completed the in can or can immersion method. Again, let us see the advantage of this method. Okay. Not only cool the milk, but it stays cool, the first advantage of this method. Second one, if we have the small quantity of milk, then in that case this is very economical method. So, these are the two advantages of this method. Disadvantage of this method is that it cools very slowly, it cools the milk very slowly, the first disadvantage of this method. The second disadvantage method is that this milk may get contaminated with the water. Okay. So, these are the two disadvantages of this method of can or can immersion method. Now, let us see the second method, that is the surface cooler. This may be the plane, conical or spiral or horizontal tubular in shape. Although the it means that in this method, as I told you earlier, this may be plane. Okay, it may be plane, conical, or it may be spiral or horizontal tubular in shape. In this method, the milk is distributed over the outer surfaces of the cooling tubes from the top of the means of distributor pipe or through, and flows down in continuous thin stream. Okay, it means that suppose this is the pipe and this pipe flows with cold water, okay, and from the outer surfaces, these are the outer surfaces, the milk flows. Okay, so this is the milk flows. Okay, so due to the cold water, this milk get cooled. Okay, and the cooling medium, mostly chilled water, the cooling medium which is used here, mostly the chilled water. Cooling medium which is used here mostly is the chilled water. The cool milk is received below in receiving trap. So, generally all these pipe generally contains traps in which this cool milk is received. Okay. So, this is the trap in which this cool milk is received, and due to this chilled water, this milk get chilled or cooled, and this cool milk is received below in a receiving trap from which it is discharged by gravity or by pump, and this milk is discharged by gravity or with the help of pump. Okay, you know very well what is pump. So, this is the second method, that is the surface cooler. Now, advantages of this method is that transfers heat rapidly, number 1. Transfers heat rapidly and efficiently, and this method is relatively very low expensive, or you may say inexpensive. It means that it requires very low money for the construction of this type of this surface cooler. Okay, inexpensive. Also aerates the milk, thus improving the flavor. If the milk contains any kind of the flavor, due to the aeration of milk, okay, it helps to improve its flavor of milk. Okay, so these are the three advantages of this method. Then the disadvantages. Number 1 is that the requires constant attention for the rate of flow. Okay, it requires continuous attention. Number 1, disadvantages. Number 2, greater chances of airborne contaminations. If, as we have seen that this milk comes in contact with the air, so the more chances are increases to contaminate with the airborne diseases. Okay, so this is the second disadvantage of this method, airborne contamination. Means whatever the microorganisms is present in air, they get contaminated with this water. So this is the disadvantage of this method, as this is not a closed method. So the airborne contaminant may get contaminated with this milk. Then the third one is the cleaning and sanitation, not very efficient, and slight evaporation losses. What happens? Cleaning and the sanitations not very efficient in this method. And the fourth one, that is the slight evaporations, as we are releasing milk from the top of this side. So what happens, some quantity of milk may get evaporates. Okay, so in this way this is the fourth disadvantage of this method. So these are all about the surface cooler. We have completed two methods, and just one method two methods are remaining, that is the in tank or bulk tank cooler, and the second method, that is the milk chilled centers. We will complete it in our next lecture. So till today, thank you very much for hearing me.